Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Error Code Show. It's the new show. We didn't have a title when we did the tech thingy, but now we do. It's the Error Code Show. As always, I am Alex the Humanoid. I'm back. We're going to get back to doing a weekly show because it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. And I am joined by my new co-host, Jay. Jay, introduce yourself to people.
Hello, I'm Jay. That is me. I'm a person. You're people.
I'm a dude. You're a dude. We're all dudes.
Yeah, every person, place, or thing is a dude.
Exactly. I'm a dude.
Yeah.
You're a dude. We're all dudes. Welcome to the show. We have actually a pretty good rundown tonight. I'm pretty proud of our first rundown for the day. I'm actually really proud of the fact that we managed to get a rundown done before the show. Jay and I are both very busy, but we managed to get it done. So,
Yep.
Okay. Remember, you can use Prime subs on stream, which means you're giving us Amazon's money, right? So if you're on Twitch watching us, guess what? Prime subs count, and that gives us money, and that's good because that's how we do more of these shows. We're going to do this one weekly unless we get money. Oh, and yes, we are nerds. Thank you, Grandpa Joe. We are nerds.
Totally.
It's a free way to support us because it's a Prime sub. Also, we are really close to 500 subscribers on YouTube. So you should subscribe and like and comment and do all those things that make the algorithm gods happy. Okay? So make the algorithm gods happy. We're going to build an RSS feed, and we're going to build Discord servers and all that stuff here in the upcoming weeks. Give us some time. We are working on it, I promise. We finally got branding and a logo going. So give us credit for that much, at least. With that out of the way, we're going to jump to our first segment, which is Error Code 415, an unsupported media type. Joker 2 Folie à Deux is officially a flop. We wanted to give it to the second week because maybe word of mouth would buoy it. It opened way lower than was expected, and its second week, it was even worse. It now has the largest second week drop of any comic book movie in history, dropping 81% to less than 8 million in week 2. I think Deadpool did better than that. It now basically has no chance of getting anywhere close to break even. After the success of the first Joker movie, which, Jay, you really liked.
Yeah, I liked both of them.
What the hell happened?
All right, I think this is just my theory. I think a few things happened.
Okay.
One, at the end of Joker 1, like kind of the Joker is revealed, right? So it's a story about Arthur going through his life, and then at the very end you get teased with the Joker a little bit. So I think one, fans wanted this action-packed Joker in the second Joker film, but also you're coming from Deadpool Wolverine, right? So you have this R-rated, action-packed, awesome adventure, and I think fans were wanting that. I don't think they were really kind of wanting a kind of deep storyline of like a reflection of our society where no one cares who you are. We just care about like the persona that you put on kind of thing. So I don't know. I think it was a great movie, but not what the movie like fans wanted.
So, a couple of things that I saw about the film. And I'd be curious to hear about your interpretation of this. One, the musical aspect of it, right?
Oh my God.
It was a jukebox musical in that it's all like covers and pop songs and things like that. But to my understanding, it didn't really add to the story. They weren't telling the story through the music. It was like, here's some story, and then here's a musical number. And then we're done with that, and then we're going to go on some other story, and here's a musical number. Would that be an accurate telling of what they ended up doing there?
Yeah, and I think that's like Arthur's way of trying to cope with like what's going on around him, like his mental health, like he's envisioning this like musical thing. Also I think like Lady Gaga wouldn't do it if it wasn't some sort of like singing or something going on in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I agree. It didn't really add much to it. It was a little, I don't know, misplaced. So I will agree with that. I don't think it was like enough to be a musical, though. I don't know.
So the other thing I'll say is maybe Todd Phillips, who's the director of Joker and Joker 2, I think he just needs to stay away from sequels, right? Hangover 1, which he also did,
God.
great.
Yeah.
Hangover 1 was great. Hangover 2, not so much, right? Joker 1, arguably great. Joker 2, not so much. Maybe, Todd, maybe sequels just aren't your bag, man.
I would argue, though, that's the curse of the sequels. It's always harder to pull off the second movie. Okay. And I will say, like, Transformers 1, amazing. Like, I got
And it
goosebumps when
bombed.
you see, like,
And it bombed too.
I don't understand that. Like, I remember like watching that in the movie theaters back when they were doing midnight releases of movies.
I'm telling you,
and
they've run that franchise into the ground.
well, yeah, but I
And
mean the first
nobody
one. The
nobody
first one was
trusts them.
great.
Nobody trusts them. Bumblebee was
Yeah.
great. Rise of the Beasts, not so much. So they're going off what their last
Yeah.
their last kind of run was, and that's difficult,
Oh yeah.
you know. So yeah, the first Joker made the studio $1 billion. It was
That's
nominated for multiple Academy Awards. Joaquin Phoenix won an Academy Award for his portrayal of Arthur Fleck / the Joker, which is why
Wow.
they greenlit a second movie. Right? We all knew, like, look, you made $1 billion, and that's not a small amount of money. It's hard to do, and it was, I believe, the first R-rated movie to break $1 billion was Joker.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that as well. Yeah.
Right now, obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine came out this year, and it well surpassed $1 billion as an R-rated movie. So I get why they greenlit this. The other thing I saw is I saw a bunch of stuff where Todd Phillips was talking about how they would go in and rewrite the script in the morning, and they'd like scrap pages and stuff. I get the sense that they didn't really know what they were trying to say.
Interesting.
Like the first
Yeah.
one, they had something to say about a broken society and mental health and a broken person in a broken world and him getting
Yeah.
left behind. I don't get the sense that happened here.
Yeah. I mean I think that makes sense. I think that's like fair to say. But I will say I'm not going to spoil the movie for anyone, or at least I hope not. No spoilers. But I really kind of liked the ending because I will say, like, throughout the movie, there were things that were happening where, like, as a Batman fan growing up, always being like obsessed with Batman, I was like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And there were things that I was like keeping track of. Like, I'm a really bad movie critic because I just go to a movie to be entertained. So
No,
if
I don't think that
fall,
makes you bad.
I mean, like, I'm just like, oh yeah, the movie was great. Like for every movie, unless I fall asleep in it, which the only movie I fell asleep in was the reboot of the Fantastic Four movie because that shit was bad.
Fan Four Stick?
Yeah, God. Yeah, it was. Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, like I enjoyed it, but I was keeping track of like this doesn't make sense. Like Harley Quinn would not say this or do this. The Joker would not say this or do this. It's not adding up. And then at the very end of the movie, not spoiling it, I was like, oh fuck. It all makes sense. It kind of like had that not as good, I will say, but that like ending of like the Sixth Sense where you're like, wait, shit. Wow, okay, like that makes sense now. Bruce Willis is dead the entire movie. Which
Yeah.
that's not the ending of the Joker 2. Don't worry, I did not spoil that for you.
He's not dead?
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not dead. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know what you think. Drop us some stuff in the comments down below. Did you like Joker 2? Some people did. Again, there's a not small portion of the audience that, according to Rotten Tomatoes, like 35% really likes the movie. Let us know. Did you like the movie? Did you think it was stupid? Leave us a comment down below. All right. with that, we're going to move on to topic number 2. Jeff, this one is yours, I believe.
Yeah. So, if you had internet or TV or even probably lived under a rock, you knew that SpaceX caught a rocket. So, on October 13th, SpaceX made history when it was able to catch a stage one booster known as Super Heavy from a 400-foot Starship launch, which is insane. Um, this is a true engineering feat, seeing the booster return to the launch site and then being like catched by a metal arm. Like we can like argue Elon Musk and like
Yeah,
how
we're
he
going to talk about
sucks,
that in a sec.
but that is like truly impressive. And yes, like if we are looking closer into, the night sky one day, we might wake up and realize like, wait a second, that's no moon, and that's just before like Elon Musk blows us all up.
Yes.
But it was truly amazing, because this is like we are seeing kind of this advancement of like space travel. I mean, we're seeing more advancement
Which
now than NASA has in like 30 years.
which
Let's
is
be real.
which is what's frustrating. There are two things about this story that are frustrating to me, right? One, that it took this to get our bug for space travel back, right? And
Yeah.
and the thing is, like, I got excited when Richard Branson started Virgin Galactic, and it's like, you're a billionaire, start a space program. Bezos has Blue Origin, and Elon's got SpaceX. And so to a degree, I'm like, this is great because, yeah, I mean, these are, as you said, a true feat of engineering to catch that rocket. I saw the video like mid-flight and like, okay, we're good, and he'd landed rockets before. Somebody in the chat saying the engineers, we caught a rocket, Elon, and I helped. Okay, which for those of you who are not old is a reference to the old Shake and Bake commercial, right? Look at the fried chicken, and I helped. The little 4-year-old girl.
Oh God.
which again brings us kind of around to that topic of Elon, right? Is that between Tesla and SpaceX, like 5 years ago, Elon was like revered by a lot of people because he was pushing forward in a lot of areas that people weren't pushing forward in, like really pushing into the electric car market, really trying to break the stranglehold that the dealerships had, and the way that the dealership structure worked by direct selling and not having dealers, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing. And really making electric cars mainstream. SpaceX going, hey, look, like we've got to invest money and time into this, and I'm willing to do that. And I'm a big proponent for space travel. I think it's a good thing. I think from a resource standpoint, the asteroid belts are out there. Like there's so much in a resource limited planet that we live on. Being able to leave to go get shit for resources is a good thing.
It's so that I'm going to interject real quick. So that is a good thing. I do agree with you, but I have read studies where that could be super dangerous because you could mine an asteroid, and if it has, for instance, if it's rich in diamonds or whatever, it could crash the world market. Like I don't know if our like market's ready for us to mine asteroids, but other than that, super cool. Like let's go, let's do it. 100%.
And then Elon lost his mind.
He didn't lose his mind. Okay, I'm going to interject again. He did not lose his mind. You have to give him credit when credit is due. He designed the world's ugliest truck and the most useless truck. So he hasn't lost his mind. He's still there.
And literally, I know people who are putting bumper stickers on their Tesla saying, I bought this before Elon went nuts, right? People who are looking at these accomplishments of these great engineers at SpaceX and going, he's tainted the whole thing. Which I really think sucks. Like, it sucks. Somebody in the chat said, Elon is dollar store Edison, just as good as taking credit for other people's work with way less of his own to contribute. They're not wrong. He's not an engineer. This is not his thing. Again, it's frustrating because this should be one of those news stories that we're like, yes, this is the greatest. And we're just like, but Elon.
Yeah.
Fucking Elon.
I think for me, the moment where I was like, what the fuck
now, to be clear
is going on?
For our audience, you come from an engineering background.
Yes.
right? So you have a deep appreciation of the level of like brain sweat, like pure like
Mhm.
brain sweat of how do we do this? And then not only like how do we do this, but now we've got to make it into a practical thing,
Yeah.
right? You have a deep appreciation for that.
I get chills every time I see SpaceX do something really amazing. Like it gives me physical chills. I Because it's cool. It's so cool. Like, and I don't think you can really appreciate it until you spend like 3 weeks like just trying to make like a very basic robot arm, like not even pick up a block, but like move
Mm-hmm.
to the left, you're like, and then like when you finally get it, you're like, oh my gosh, like you know, I fixed it. It makes sense. Like we're doing it. And then you move on to bigger things. So to see like us reusing rockets, to see them like landing on launch pads or being caught by like the launching site or whatever, like that is like really truly amazing because the amount of engineering, like the amount of stuff that has to go right or you have to plan ahead and kind of have all of these like very smart decisions and like your code and everything, like it's
Plus,
insane.
plus all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I I don't know. It is really, really cool. And that's where it's kind of sad because like I try to like, I don't know, break apart like there's SpaceX
Creator
and
and
then there's
creation. It's the
yeah,
same
and
thing
then
you
there's
do with
Elon.
art, right?
Yeah.
Like people are like Harry Potter, but J.K. Rowling, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's we have this thing that we like. Why do you have to
Mhm.
be a shitty person?
Yeah. And I think
You
the
know?
moment for me when I was like, what is going on with this guy? I think that was the what was it? The cave, the kid stuck in the
Oh
cave.
yeah, yeah. We talked about this in the
That
pre-show yesterday.
yeah, that when he like got mad because he couldn't make his miniature submarine and save him, and then he called like the people that actually went in there and risked their lives to save the children. When he called them all pedophiles, that's
Yeah,
when I was like,
and we're done with you now.
what? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. J.K. Rowling is female Elon Musk, except not smart. Thank you, chat. We appreciate that. Um, let us know what you think. Again, it's an amazing feat of engineering. It's really, really cool what they did. Uh, does Elon taint everything that SpaceX does? Let us know what you think down in the comments. Leave us some information. All right. It sounds like everybody can hear us this time. You remember last time we had some weird sound
Yeah.
issues. So thank you everybody for sticking in. I'm seeing people kind of pop in and out of our thing. J.K. Rowling wrote shittier Star Wars. There's actually a really good stand-up bit that somebody did about that with like a PowerPoint presentation about how Harry was Luke and Ron is Han, and
Oh
there's a
God.
good stand-up bit about that. All right. Uh, Here we go. Now we're speaking of Elon and the effect that he's having on the world right now. Um, so obviously we have an election coming up. I think we are like 2 weeks away, 2.5, 3. Um, Now Jay is doing the smart thing. He's leaving the country for a
Yep.
couple of weeks, right
I'm
around the
doing it.
election time. I presume you've already turned in your ballot, right? Have you voted yet?
Not yet. I actually have not received my ballot
So
yet.
Jess was having the same problem. So we're kind of looking at her stuff. I got mine. Um,
Oh wow.
Obviously, this election is affecting everyone, and this one
Mm.
is even more bonkers, if possible, than
Ugh.
2020. Uh, so here's my question for chat: should we
Mm.
do an election show?
Oh God.
This is a new show. You know, do we do an election show? Jay, what do you think? Should I do an election show?
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I think.
I don't think we're gonna know on election night. Now, our normal show night is Wednesday, which is actually when I think we're gonna know. So
Mhm.
I may not do it on Tuesday, but I may do it on Wednesday when I actually think we're gonna find out. Do you think we're gonna
Mm.
know election night? There's a
I
lot of
don't.
theories popping around right now.
Yeah. I don't. I don't. I personally don't think we're gonna know election night. Um. I don't. I don't know. It could either be like a pretty epic election night stream, or it could be very depressing very quickly. I don't really
I mean,
know.
I'll be drinking either way. Okay, like let's face
Yeah,
it. I'm either going to be celebrating or I'm going to be like crying. Um,
fair.
on that topic, it's actually again, it's been a really, really interesting election season. One of the things that happened yesterday, kind of going away because it's not just a presidential election. There's like Senate elections happening and all kinds of stuff. Ted Cruz is being challenged by a Democrat who's in the House right now. He's going for the Senate, named Colin Allred. If you have not watched portions of this debate, oh my God, you need to. I made Jay watch
Yeah,
a couple clips right before. Jay, what's your immediate thought on what you saw in that debate?
it is epic. He gets owned so hard.
Supply
Like,
closet Ted.
oh my God. Like in the most professional political way. Uh he just gets owned. I laughed. I laughed my ass off.
Ted, aka the Zodiac Killer. Thank you, chat. Yeah, I mean, and he hits him, and not just on January 6th, but he hits him on the abortion stuff, and basically getting nothing done in Congress for 12 years, in the Senate, and he just wiped the floor with them. Some of the polls on that particular race have been kind of close lately. I'd like to believe that kind of debate might be able to swing it a couple of points. Do we think it's going to matter?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know.
This one's a tough one.
Yeah, I really don't know how that's gonna go.
I would love to see him get booted out of the Senate.
Oh yeah, like everyone wants to see like Darth Sidious go, but
Is he Darth Sidious? He reminds me.
no.
Who's the little like Weasley guy that helps out Sidious? You know, the dude with the head tails, who's like his little major domo dude in the
Yeah.
prequels. Like that's who Ted Cruz is. He's never the guy at the top. He's the Weasley motherfucker who's like, meh, 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 meh. He's Peter Pettigrew. Jesus Christ, we're back to Harry Potter again. Also today, Kamala Harris was interviewed by Brett Baer from Fox News. Boy, was that a contentious one. I watched a bunch of that as I was driving around. Here's the thing. She did better. I think the softball nicey interviews aren't good for her. That's where she goes word salad. Dude, when he was trying to hit her, she was like, oh, now it's earrings. Let's go. Like, I actually think she was better in an adversarial format.
I think when it comes down to it, like when it matters, she shows up, I think. When it's kind of like a preseason game, I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
She's
That's a
like,
good
"Oh,
analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. All the softball interviews are a preseason game, but when she's going on Fox News, do you think it was smart for her to go on Fox News? I've heard varying things. Now it was Brett Baer and not like Hannity.
Yeah.
So, you know, somebody from the news division.
Yeah, I don't know. I have like a really bad view of Fox News and the people that watch Fox News. I'm sorry, chat, if that anyone. But I think the people that watch Fox News are probably going to like pick it apart and like find every reason to like double down and hate her. I don't know, but I mean, I think it was good. I don't know.
I'm hoping so. This is, and I was having this discussion with somebody on social media because they were like, "Why is she touting these Republican endorsements and stuff like that?" Nikki Haley was pulling 20%, 15 to 20% of the vote even after she dropped out in the Republican primaries. And I think what the Harris campaign is betting is that there's it doesn't have to be huge, right? But if you get 10 to 15% of the GOP electorate, right, who's just fucking sick of Trump and his shenanigans, and it's like, look, I just want him to go away, right? I don't want, I'm done with him. Can he please just go away? And I think most people are of the opinion, and Trump has said publicly, that if he loses this time, he's not running again. And he's 78 now. I don't think he can run again.
Good. I mean,
so I think their bet is there's enough of the Republican electorate that's like, you know what, I'm just sick of the stupid. and I'm willing to vote against the stupid. Right? I think that's their theory of the case. And I think that's why she's going on Fox. I think that's why she's touting the Cheney endorsements and Adam Kinzinger and all these other guys. I mean, what do you think of that theory?
I mean, I hope there's people that are just sick of the crazy. I mean, it's entertaining to hear him babble on about like electric boats and shark attacks.
And occasionally you see his town hall the other night. He just danced for 30 minutes. He took 5 questions at the town hall and just like ran his Spotify playlist for 30 minutes. It was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
it's entertaining until you realize that like this guy was a president and he's running to be a president again. Then it's like sad.
He had the nuclear codes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so gross. I don't know. So yeah, I hope people are tired. Like people want real politics. Like people are gonna get real shit done, hopefully. But then again, like I've been in places where I'm like the minority, where I'm the crazy one for not voting for Trump.
Again,
so
we're introducing you to the audience, right? Jay is is a Florida man, right? Jay is from Florida, right? I'm you know, Jay grew up in Florida, right? Is from Florida, went to college in Florida. So Jay understands some of the crazy, like deeply.
Yep.
It's
sad.
I mean, I've seen a couple theories of the case. I've seen some people who are like again, so Georgia's early vote stuff came out the other day. 137% over 2020 for the early vote for the first day in Georgia. Right? 330,000 people came out to vote in Georgia on day 1 of early voting. Right? Like, that's a lot of people. And I can't see that kind of enthusiasm. I think there's people who are just sick of Trump and want this election to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope so.
The Dem firewall in Pennsylvania looks pretty solid. They're returning ballots at a pretty rapid rate. Again, I wonder how many people are going to stay home. I've also, because I sneak into right-wing spaces from time to time, there's a lot of pro-life people that are very upset right now. Like really mad. Because Trump's been equivocating a lot on the pro-life side, right? He gave the pro-lifers what they wanted with the overturning of Roe. And I think in Trump's mind, that should be enough. But if you've known pro-lifers, it's never going to be enough. Until there's a national ban, they're not going to be done. Right?
Yeah.
Like the hardcore activists, they're not done. And there's a lot of them who are really mad because, again, there's been a lot of questions to Trump, like, would you sign a national abortion ban? And they've been kind of wishy-washy on it. And the pro-life side is not happy about this. So I wonder how many of them stay home.
I don't know about that. Like I mean, I hope so. But they might just be like, well, he's our best shot of something towards pro-life. I don't know.
I've seen that argument from right-wing circles.
Yeah.
Right, which is the alternative is Kamala Harris, and they've made very clear where they are. You know, they're going to try and rebuild Roe legislatively, right?
Yep.
So it will be interesting to see. Let us know down in the comments. Do you want us to do an election show?
Yeah.
Like, are you interested in this? Yeah, let us know. We might think about doing it. All right. Somebody's saying that Jay's the OG Florida man. That's what chat says. All right. We are moving on to our next topic, which is a little less heavy and a little more fun. So here we go. Jay, take us away.
Thank God. Like let's talk about stuff that, you know, is lighthearted and matters, like the new Karate Kid movie. So Alex, you are a unabashed 80s kid.
Yep.
You know, you're not ashamed of that.
Nope.
And of course the Karate Kid was one of the best movies. I definitely agree. I love the Karate Kid, the first one. I did watch all the others. to me, like the number one was like the best. But anyways, a few months ago, we were treated with the announcement um, that we are getting the original Karate Kid and Jackie Chan are doing a combined Karate Kid cinematic universe. Like, yes, that is correct. I
The
did
Jackie Chan movie exists.
Jackie Chan and Danielson together. I don't know. It's and we also have the title for that. It's the Karate Kid Legends, supposedly. So I'm really interested to see where this is going. Obviously, this is coming off the the heels of um, Cobra Kai,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was great. I think that
Been a
rebooted the entire
big
series.
success.
You have a whole new generation falling in love with the Karate Kid, and now we're getting this new movie with Jackie Chan. Great martial artists. Some people, don't really like Jackie Chan. They prefer a more serious martial artist like Bruce Lee, but I would still argue probably like one of the greatest martial artists of our time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, unless you want to think about, oh my gosh, what was his name? Oh, I'm blanking right now. Um,
Jet Li.
no, Jet Li was great.
Jet Li was
Yeah.
great.
No, I just like totally ruined the punchline of this.
We're all right.
But he did judo. He was like a sheriff for a while, and he was completely fake. Who am I thinking of?
Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Oh dear God. Oh
Yeah.
wow. We're going Steven Seagal with this one, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
He is so cringy.
So-
like, I can't.
Karate Kid Legends.
Mm.
I think it's a good title, right? I'm presuming they're talking about Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan's character. Again, there was no indication as to whether that Jackie Chan version like exists in the same universe. Not like the Hilary Swank one, which we talked about the other day at the pre-show, which did have Mr. Miyagi in it because there. So obviously it is in continuity. But now we know it's in continuity, so it's great. I'm excited for this. I think it's just going to be we were talking about it in the first segment, how you say you walk into a movie and you're like, when I walk out, I just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
I think when you walk out of this movie, you're just going to have a smile on your face. Right? I think it's just going to be fun to watch.
Hopefully it does better than the greatest movie of 2024, The Joker 2, Oh gosh. But no, I really hope it goes well. I hope it's a hit. I hope they continue to make more content. And yeah, I really enjoy like seeing things from my childhood like come alive again. So like,
Well, and especially
seeing-
when it's done well.
yeah,
Like Cobra Kai, I started watching Cobra Kai and I was like, oh, they're going from a different, because they're doing it from Johnny Lawrence's perspective at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? And after Karate Kid 1, we didn't see Johnny again, right? We see him at the very beginning of Karate Kid 2 when Kreese is like bashing him for losing to Daniel-san, right? And we're like, and then we pick up with Cobra Kai, and that's it. And we pick up with Cobra Kai, and we see how that's affected his life. And actually, when Cobra Kai starts, Daniel-san's kind of a dick.
he is. It's this
He's
weird.
kind of a bully.
It's a really weird flip where people believe he's the bully, and like you have sympathy for the Cobra Kai character, which is insane. But they pull it off like perfectly, in my opinion. Because you do feel bad. You see him, I believe, like cleaning pools, trying to like mount TVs on the wall, failing at it, getting made fun of by like younger kids, driving a busted up car. And then you have Danielson, who has his own car dealership and is just like rolling around in money and has like kind of a mansion
And
style
he
house.
kind of makes fun of Johnny when he sees Johnny. Remember when Johnny
Yeah.
goes to get his car fixed? He's like, "Oh yeah, I beat you in that tournament." Like, 30 years ago. And again, Daniel's kind of a dick.
He is kind of a dick. Yeah.
Now, over the course of the series, they kind of evolve, right?
Yep.
And eventually they come together to form a new JoJo, right? With our powers
Yeah.
combined, right? Like, and again, I think it's good, right? Again, I think you're going to walk out of this movie and I think you're just going to be entertained. I think it's going to be fun. I think we're going to get that moment like you're the best around. No one's ever gonna keep. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's one of the best movie montages ever. Okay.
Definitely. Yep.
Having Jackie Chan in there, his comedic timing is impeccable.
Yep.
Right? Rush Hour.
Yeah.
Right? Just go look at Rush Hour. But if you're kind of curious about some of it, go back and watch like Rumble in the Bronx, audience, right? Or Super Cop, or some of the movies that he did before, Rush Hour and that stuff. He's funny. Like, that's kind of his thing. He's always been kind of goofy and fun.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I remember seeing an interview with him where he was talking about being inspired by all the other like great martial artists before him. Like I'm pretty sure he talks about Bruce Lee. And he said like he felt like he couldn't compete at that level.
No.
But what he could do is add like comedy to martial arts and like have his own unique style. Like if you try to be like Bruce Lee, you're going to fail every time.
Yeah.
But if you try to be your own martial artist and have your own spin to it, audiences are going to like respond to that a lot better. And I think Jackie Chan, like he pulled it off. I mean, he can be serious, but he has this like kind of like, I don't know, klutzy martial art. Like he pulls it off somehow. I don't know.
He really does. He actually wasn't a trained martial artist person. He was a dancer in China and then moved into martial arts because that was the way to get work.
That's crazy.
That's just kind of his thing. Again, he's got such great comedic timing. Now you and I talked about this as a pre-show, and we're gonna put this down so y'all can clip this later, and we'll see if we're right. Do we think we're gonna get a fight scene between Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan?
Yep.
100%.
100%.
Beginning of the like somewhere in the first act, I think we get a fight. Yeah, I think we get a fight scene where they're like, before they decide to team up to do whatever they're gonna do for the movie, I think they're gonna have to fight to be like, get the demons out and whatever else. Here's the thing, like I got my money on Jackie, even though he's a billion years old.
Well, I think that's the thing though. Like Jackie Chan has to beat Danielson because like he is like the elder. Like I mean, obviously it kind of depends on what route they take, but Jackie Chan is the elder. He could be this character that's like, yeah, like I've been studying martial arts my like entire life, and you need to like respect your elder, you stuck up little rich kid, like
what's funny is it's the geriatric battle. Jackie Chan is 70.
Oh God.
Ralph Macchio is 62.
Wow, that's crazy.
I went to go look just because I was like, is it as bad as I think it is? Yeah, it is. It's geriatric old men fighting each other. It's pretty bad.
Oh,
but
God.
I think it'll be a fun fight scene. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm certain we're going to get it. They did an open casting call, so we're getting a brand new... Whoever the kid in the movie, this is going to be brand new. They did a nationwide open casting call for this movie. Right?
Did you send your kid in?
I did not. She was too young.
Ah.
They wanted somebody between 11 and 15.
Okay.
Right? To be the new Karate Kid.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I feel like the casting of Cobra Kai was pretty good.
You think we're gonna get any of those kids in the movie?
I think like maybe a couple like small like
Like Hawk
appearances. Yeah.
or
Um,
Daniel's daughter. What's her name?
I can't think of her name right
But
now.
she's big in the show.
Yeah, I mean that one definitely makes sense because she's the daughter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
She would just naturally be there. Yeah. I don't know. I think we might see a little bit of them.
just a little bit.
Yep.
All right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments. Leave it in the chat. Who's new? Are you looking forward to the new Karate Kid movie? We kind of are because it's ridiculous and fun. But let us know what you think about what's coming next in the comments below. All right. Now we're going to go back to serious again.
Why? No.
I mean, we can skip this topic. It's your call. You threw this one in here. I think it needs to be covered because,
It does. Yeah.
again, I don't think it's being covered enough. Right?
I mean, that's true. I don't see anything about it. I mean, I see it every day, but I don't see any like news stories about it. So,
All right. Well, Jeff, with that, take it away.
yeah. All right. So, those of you not in the Seattle area, you might not know this, but when one door closes, another one opens, which is very uplifting unless you are Boeing. Can we please keep all the doors closed? Please? Anyways, 33,000 of the International Association of Machinists went on strike 1 month ago when negotiations failed to increase wages of the machinists by 40% over 3 years. Boeing announced that it plans on laying off about 17,000 employees to help cut losses and maximize profits, which, like, having 33,000 people go on strike and then laying off 17,000, I'm sure the quality of the airplanes will be just fine. Don't worry about it. Um, Now, this is not the only company facing picketing employees. Recently, 45,000 dock workers at East and Gulf Coast ports returned to work after agreeing to postpone a strike until January 2025 to avoid shortages and higher retail prices for consumers, which is thank you. That's very thoughtful. But yeah, so we have some picketing going on and some walkouts happening.
Right near our house. I honk every time I go by to show some support. And I get some good waves from the Boeing guys. And the Boeing plant very near my house has been doors closed for a month now.
Mm.
Again, like you mentioned, it's very weird because this did not get nearly the news coverage that the longshoreman strike, because that was like blah panic. And it was over in 3 days. Now, to be clear, that strike is postponed for 3 months. They are back at the bargaining table. The longshoremen have returned to work while they work on the language around automation with the longshoremen until January. This pushes it till after the election and things like that. I think they really wanted this to just go away for a little while. But again, it got an amazing amount of coverage in the very, very short period of time that Boeing is not getting. And there are, again, 33,000 machinists who are not at work right now. Let's also talk about this. And this is where, again, for our previous viewers of the old shows, you're going to know we would be careful about some of the stuff we taught. I don't care anymore. Let's talk about this, right? Boeing spent $68 billion in stock buybacks between 2010 and 2019. Okay. To juice their stock price. $68 billion. In 2022, their Pentagon contracts were $15 billion with a B. $1 billion. That's just their Pentagon contracts. Okay. Their CEO is leaving in August, or he left in August with a $45 million golden parachute.
Oh, God.
Right? So, that's nice for him.
I don't know, though. Like a golden parachute, I don't think that's going to help you if you jump out of a plane. I mean,
Chat saying
I
it's
think that's gonna
insider fraud,
fall.
insider trading. No, it is actually very legal to do stock buybacks. You have to announce it. You put it in your SEC filings, and they can do it all they want. They do it to juice the stock price. It also gives them stocks to reissue at a later time if they need to raise capital. This, for anybody who's been in the Seattle area for a long time, this happens about every 10 years or so. They'll usually get, it's every other contract they'll get through before they get to another strike because Boeing gets stupid. Boeing's done this for a long time. I these companies need to knuckle up and just pay people. Like, and Seattle's not a cheap place to live.
No. And I actually watched a little thing about this. How like tech companies and tech bros are actually ruining like a lot of really great cities because tech companies want to hire the best talent. So they go where the talent is. So Seattle. That causes people like myself to escape Florida and come to Seattle looking for land of promise. However, you're with like a million other tech people trying to find a job.
Yep.
This raises the cost of living. So it's very sad because I'm going to use myself as an example. Owned a house in Florida, sold it, moved to Seattle, making six figures, struggling to pay rent. Like that is sad, especially coming from a person with like an engineering degree and background, and also
absolutely.
a management background. So how the fuck are the people, for instance, that work at Starbucks that give you coffee every day? How the fuck are they surviving?
That's true. Also, this is from NBC this morning. Boeing also announced a window today of $25 billion in stock and debt offerings over 3 years on Tuesday, as well as a $10 billion credit agreement. They have the money.
Yeah.
Okay. Like straight up, they have the money. Talks with federal mediators have broken down. We're getting into the holidays now.
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous, Boeing. Come on.
This is when, unfortunately, this is my opinion. When you have engineering people that create a really good, successful company, and Boeing used to be a really good, successful engineering company. When you sell
To the finance people.
to the business, finance, soul sucking fuckers, they are going to milk every dollar out of that company. And they're not going to give a fuck about engineering. They're not going to give a fuck about like safety or anything. They are focused on one thing only, and that is profits. It doesn't matter how many.
And the problem is their incentive structure, right?
Yeah.
The people in management, the executive staff, their incentive structure is the following year, right? And as somebody who's worked in management for a long time at various companies, I will tell you this. The sad thing is again, your incentive structure is my bonus next year is based on how much money I make this year. And the number one metric beyond all the metrics they look at for everything that I do as somebody who's been P&L responsible for a long time is, did you make more money than last year? That's it. That's all they care about. Because here's the thing, these executives don't have in their minds any better job security than the engineers do. So all they're trying to do is rack in their cash while they can. And that's what's fucked up about the whole situation is the entire incentive structure is messed up, right?
Yep.
The old incentive structure was, look, we want to develop these people. We want to keep them here for 35, 40, 50 years, and then you get a nice pension and you can go home and that's your life. And that incentive structure changed starting in the 80s and moving to the 90s and going forward to now, where now it's just, dude, rack the cash while you can because nobody gives a shit anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what's really sad about it. Really sad about it.
Yeah.
It's really maddening. If you're in the Seattle area, go by those picket lines, shoot a honk at those guys. They really do appreciate it to know people are supporting them. The acting labor secretary was in Seattle on Monday. Biden's labor secretary trying to break the deadlock. I just, again, going to the holidays, I don't know how this one's going to go. I really don't. You know, I think the union's pretty strong, but I have a bad feeling.
So I have a bad feeling. I've heard that if you picket, you get paid $250 a week
You do.
from the union. Obviously, and that's what like so when you're in a union, you pay dues. That money goes into some sort of savings account or something into the union, and they really come alive and use that money in times like this for negotiations.
Yep.
I don't know how much money that union has, but it's not going to last forever.
No.
And I have this really sick feeling in my gut that like Boeing is just trying to play like the long game of like, well, they'll give up eventually, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. This one's a tougher one. The other reason the longshore strike got a lot more coverage is, again, it was an immediate impact, right? Ships stopped coming in, right? This one, a lot of people won't notice for a long time because it's Boeing. Now, Boeing will, and let's be clear about what they're doing. Boeing will start eventually losing money. When they sign a contract to deliver airplanes, if they don't deliver them on time, as the time goes on, they start paying back penalties on airplanes that they've sold to everybody. So there is a financial incentive for Boeing to get these guys back working, but I don't think it's kicked in yet for Boeing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not as quick as like the hedge funds bleeding money with GameStop, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys are out there, go shoot those guys some support. They really are working hard. They're doing good things. They're trying really, really hard. Good luck to the guys out at Boeing. You know, again, Boeing, you've got the fucking money. Just knuckle under. You fucking shitty assholes. All right. We've actually run through our rundown, but I've got a couple quick ones. If you guys in the chat, those of you that are still here, if you got some stuff you want us to talk about, let us know. Drop it in the chat. I don't know if you saw this. James Gunn shared that the new Superman movie, Crypto the Dog, will be appearing.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, Crypto the Dog will be in the new Superman movie in James Gunn's Superman next year. He's gonna make us fall. James Gunn's gonna make us fall in love with the CGI animated animal again, like Rocket. He's very good at that. Damn you, James Gunn. I'll tell you, this one looks really, really good. I am looking forward to it. And other DC stuff, again, we talked earlier about Joker Folie à Deux being a complete and absolute disaster. You know what's not a disaster is the Penguin.
Oh my God. I love the Penguin. Yes, it is the Sopranos, but in the DC universe, but I love it. Every single episode. And DC it's really interesting. It seems like when they try to like play Marvel's game, they do this really weird CGI thing and it just doesn't really play off.
No.
But when they try to focus on like being hyper realistic, or like less comic booky and more realistic, so like the Batman, the Joker 1, I'm not gonna say the Joker 2, okay, I get it. But the Penguin, like they pull that off. Like it is really, really good. If you have not started watching the Penguin on HBO, or I'm sorry, it's called just Max now, I think, right?
this is where fucking Warner Brothers. All right, let's be clear. HBO is still a channel, so if you subscribe to cable, you can get HBO and the series of HBO channels as an HBO, right? The streaming service is known as Max. All HBO shows go to Max. Much like Schrodinger's fucking cat, right? All HBO shows go to Max. Not all Max originals are created by HBO Studios, but all HBO Studio stuff does go to Max. Penguin is an HBO Studios production, okay, made by HBO, right, which still exists. But the streaming service is Max because David Zaslav lost his fucking mind. No one knows why. And actually, again, we could touch on this really quick. The issue with this is this: HBO is a brand synonymous with fucking quality.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Like you mentioned, The Sopranos, right? Let's go all the way back. The Wire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Game of Thrones, the first 6 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, right? The
Yep.
Sopranos, Sex and the City. Like, this is a channel, the newsroom, this is a channel that is fucking synonymous with quality. Okay?
Yep.
HBO has known how for 3 decades to make quality adult television, right? Prestige TV. And they've been doing it for a long time. And they've done it again with Penguin. But yes, I don't know why he cut HBO out of the Max brand. Because again, it confuses people. Because again, we just had to have this discussion, right? And again, HBO is known for, we make good shit.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, I guess I don't get it. Like, why does it have to be called Max? Why not have that branding? HBO. And I know for a while it was called HBO Max.
And that was under the old thing. And this is again where we get into like, and actually this is something you and I discussed weeks ago, and something that hopefully here on the Error Code Show we're going to dive deeper into in future things.
Hopefully.
You have to talk about the world of business, and Jay is going to stuff for business school right now and doing marketing and things like that. And the world of corporate consolidation and how companies sell and buy and do all these things. Warner Brothers was for a long time, the parent company of HBO was owned by AT&T.
What?
Yes. So until a few years ago, they were owned by AT&T. AT&T owned Warner Brothers, right? Warner Brothers got bored, or AT&T got bored, and they were looking to like divest some of their assets and rack up some cash. So Discovery Networks, right, from the Discovery Channel, right, the people that own the Discovery Channel and 80 and all these other channels, they were like,
you literally have like the pin board and you're like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just like, okay.
This is what happens in these business worlds. And so what they did was they were like, AT&T was like, we want to sell HBO or Warner Brothers. And Discovery was like, we'll buy it, because Discovery had shitloads of cash. Because what Discovery had was they had a crap ton of shows and networks that made boatloads of content for no money. Okay? Because they owned HGTV. They owned the Food Network. They owned Discovery. Okay? HGTV, they don't spend shit. They produce hours and hours and hours of content for basically nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Like Love It or Listed or fucking Property Brothers, all this other bullshit. Right? So AT&T goes, we want to get out of the content business, so we're going to sell Warner Brothers. And Discovery bought it. Discovery was run by a guy named David Zaslav at the time. Right? He's the CEO of Discovery. He's like, okay, I'm going to buy Warner Brothers. And so he buys Warner Brothers from AT&T, right? And now they are Warner Brothers Discovery as the parent company, right? And that includes a bunch of companies. So it's Warner Brothers, the Hollywood studio, right? That's been around since time immemorial. HBO, and then all the Discovery networks. You know, this is just what they did. Then when they did that, they already had HBO Max. Like AT&T had already started the streaming service. I don't know why he cut it. No one can really explain what Zaslav was doing. Right? He spent his first year with Warner Brothers basically being like, cut, destroy, destroy. Like I'm slicing out everything. And he spent his first year and a half, 2 years burning everything down inside of Warner Brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he started building it back up about a year and a half, 2 years ago, right? And like, so keep in mind again, like going back, AT&T owns Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns DC. They don't just license the DC content. No. Warner Brothers bought DC Comics. So all the comics that are published, those are done by Warner Brothers. Like they own the company. Right? Much like Disney bought Marvel, like all the Marvel comics, they're subsidiary of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Warner Brothers did the same thing. They were like, no, we're just going to buy the whole fucking studio, so we just own everything.
Right.
Yeah. And what Zaslav did was he took a page out of Disney's book. The one thing that I think he's done really right is the thing that he picked out from Disney that Disney does well is Disney said, we're not going to license out all these characters to Sony and Fox and everybody. No. We're getting everybody back. Yeah. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a separate studio. This will be its own standalone studio. Kevin Feige, you are in charge. You run Marvel. That's all you do, right? Warner Brothers hadn't done that when they were under AT&T. It was just kind of this weird amalgamation of people at Warner Brothers that randomly made DC movies, and sometimes it worked, like the Christopher Nolan movies, and sometimes it didn't, like Black Adam.
God.
Okay. What David Zaslav did is he said, well, damn, this is dumb. So David Zaslav created DC Studios, which is a specific movie studio. You are in charge of making fucking DC movies now, right? And he said, okay, James Gunn, Peter Safran, you're going to co-run, you'll be co-CEOs of DC Studios, right? Because if everybody forgot, James Gunn got fired by Marvel.
Oh, shit.
Right? After Guardians 2. Right? Because in that period of time, somebody went back into James's Twitter feed and found a bunch of shit he said that was not very nice. It wasn't terrible. He wasn't calling people the N-word or doing anything crazy. But it was bad enough where Disney said, we're going to separate from you for a little while. Right?
What is it with people in Twitter? Like, why?
In the early days of Twitter, everybody like posted just their like stream of consciousness shit. And some bad shit was put out on Twitter and forgot about.
Yeah. So
James Gunn, so David Zaslav, seeing what Gunn had done with Guardians, and then he had him do the second Suicide Squad movie, he goes, look, I like your creative direction. Here's the problem. James Gunn doesn't know how to run a studio. So he hired a guy named Peter Safran. Peter Safran is an executive producer. He's been around forever. He knows how to run the business side of a studio. Right? That's what he knows how to do. And so what he said is, you motherfuckers are going to run this together. Okay? James, you and Peter, you are co-CEOs. You will run DC Studios together, much again like Marvel has a separate studio. So it doesn't have to go to Warner Brothers for green light. Right? James Gunn and Peter Safran can green light their own movies without having to clear it through Warner Brothers.
Nice.
Right? Joker 2 is the last movie that was greenlit before James Gunn and Peter Safran took over DC.
Ooh, interesting.
So it's the last movie that James Gunn and Peter Safran have nothing to do with. They literally zero. It had nothing to do with them. You know, and James announced his slate and how they're going to run DC Studios, and they're working on that. And the Superman movie, which will be the first one that comes out in the new DC universe, Comes out next July.
Okay.
But this is what happens when you have, I mean, and Jeff, this is where I'm going to pull you into this. It's marketing. You've got these multi-billion-dollar franchises.
Yeah.
You have to do something with them.
You do. You do.
Okay. But people act like it's easy to run and market these franchises. Like the fans are like, this should be simple, right? How hard is this to do?
Well, yeah, I think if you've ever spent, and I'm talking to a very specific person in the chat, if you've ever spent like 3 months trying to change a screw on a FDA regulated product, then you'll realize things in the real world are hard to do.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Marketing these films, doing these films is hard. So you've got to try and put people in place to do it. You know, we'll see what James does with the new DCU. I hope he's successful. I love DC characters. Kind of coming back to our original thing. Penguin, which was an offshoot of the Matt Reeves, the Batman, which again was greenlit before James took over the studio. Now, he has said when he took over the studio that there's going to be the main DCU, and much like the comic books, you're going to have Elseworlds titles, right? The Batman and that universe is an Elseworlds title for DC Studios. It will continue to run. It's going to do its thing, but it's Elseworlds. It's not part of the main DC continuity, which is fine. The Penguin is a great show. So again, coming back, Colin Farrell is unrecognizable.
Oh God.
If he's not nominated for an Emmy for this,
I don't even, there's a scene, and I think the second episode, where he's naked and tied to a chair.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds
terrible.
Sounds odd.
But yes.
But oh my, you can't like recognize. I saw that, I was like, what the hell? Like,
he was unrecognizable in The Batman. Did you see The Batman?
Yep.
Great movie.
Loved it.
Phenomenal film. Right? He's great in this. Kristen Milioti, who was the mother in How I Met Your Mother. That's the first place I saw her. And I thought she got short shrift there. I love that show, but they really kind of screwed her over. But she's amazing.
She's,
as Sophia Falcone.
Yeah. I think the acting is great. I think the casting is great.
Role for her.
Yeah.
The kid who's working for the Penguin.
Yep.
He's vulnerable, but like kind of tough, and like he's got a lot going for him.
He does. I think I have a theory about this. I think when the Penguin first encountered him, I'm not going to like spoil anything, or I'm going to try not to. When he first encountered him, I think the reason why like the Penguin didn't shoot him was he realized that he was a little strange, like the Penguin was. And the whole kind of throughout the show, I kind of get a sense that like the Penguin wants to look after this kid like somebody took care of him and introduced him into like the crime, mafia world. So there's so many layers to it. So you have this like, hey, like I feel bad for you. I'm going to take you in. I'm going to take care of you. Obviously there's killing and murdering and hookers in it. But it's so crazy to be talking about like a Batman universe like show and like say that. But yeah, there's so much I like about it. And
it hooks so well into the film too.
Yes.
Right? Perfect. Like if you watched the movie, you can go for the movie to watch the first episode and not miss a beat. Like they do it, it's blended brilliantly.
I just hope. Did you ever watch The Arrow?
I did. I have anybody who's been in my chats for a long time. Here's the thing. All right.
Oh, shit.
I will die on this hill. It is it is the best live action DC universe I have ever seen. Full stop. The Arrowverse. All of it. I watched all of it.
I loved season 1. Season 1, I was obsessed. I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Season 2 is meh. Season 3, I think when they started introducing all the sidekicks, I was like, no. No, they're like,
See, then they
please,
got the
please stop.
Flash, and then we did
I mean, the Flash is
Crisis.
great, but all like the weird, like I don't know, the smaller name sidekicks that like
Yeah,
you've
then
never
we got
heard
the
of
whole
before.
Ra's al Ghul storyline. That was great.
I mean, that was cool. But do you remember the scene where I think it was like a season finale where Stephen Amell's character, the Green Arrow, is on a boat and he sees the island blow up and he's like all the sidekicks and all of his friends and family he thought was on the island and he's like, no. I legit was like, oh, thank God. They're gonna save this show. And then I think like the first episode of the next season, you find out they're all alive, and I was like,
Oh, of course it is.
ah.
Because it's the DC
So
fake death universe.
Yeah, so I hope, going back to the Penguin, I just hope they don't do that with the Penguin. I hope they're not like, oh, look, here's Poison Ivy, here's Dr. Freeze, here's the Riddler.
No,
like,
I don't think they're going to do that, right? Obviously, we know in this universe, there are at least 3 of the Batman's Rogue Gallery, right? Because we've seen them. There's Penguin.
Yep.
There's the Riddler, who is alive at the end of the Batman and in Arkham.
Yep.
And chatting with his new buddy, the Joker, who we also see in the Batman. But as somebody, and again, something I actually liked about the Batman is we know the Joker's there. We know Batman's captured him at least once and put him in Arkham.
Yep.
And then he goes to Arkham to talk to the Joker to be like, what about this guy? And he's like, what? He's fucking you, dude. Like, what are you asking me for? Like, great sequence. So we got a little bit of his rogues gallery in the Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair. And I think, again, just what I'm thinking, I think that we just got introduced to the Scarecrow and the Penguin.
That's interesting.
If you stop and think about it and really kind of think about the last episode, you might come to it as well. But I think that's the Scarecrow, I think, personally.
Okay. That's good.
It makes sense.
You could do stuff with Poison Ivy, right? Make it about eco-terrorism, right?
Oh, crap.
And urban sprawl, right? Because again, the Riddler, yeah, he was the Riddler, but he was a serial killer. Like he was killing people because they were corrupt, and it fit in the world. The riddles.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, chat saying, ooh, eco-terrorism would be cool. Again, I think that would be a neat concept. There's stuff you can do with the Batman's Rogue Gallery that you don't have to go super cheesy.
Yeah.
Right? Again, look at this version of the Penguin. He's not like, wah, 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 right? He's not wearing a top hat. He doesn't have a beak nose, but he still has the walk, right? And I like the way they explain that in the show. Right, where you see his leg. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Again, HBO just makes good shows. They have once again shown, look, we know how to make quality fucking television. Right? And credit to them. Yeah. They let their creative people be creative. They took some big swings with this, and it's paying off for them. The thing I wanted to bring up is the viewing rates. Normally with streaming, you see them kind of inch down. It's like episode 1 will be big, and then it'll kind of, and you're really just trying to control the downward trend. Penguin has been going up.
Yeah.
Which is rare for a streaming show. With under a month, the series premiere episode went up to 13 million from a 10.4 in its initial 11 days.
Oh, crap.
So they got an extra 2.6 million.
Yeah.
Over the second 2 weeks.
You know what that is? That is everyone running and saying, you have to watch The Penguin, and then everyone rushing to renew their Max subscription.
And here's the thing. It's just like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones did not start. That first season didn't have great viewership numbers. It
Nope.
wasn't until the end of season 1, beginning of season 2 that it started to really pick up because again, it took, oh, hey, you got to watch this show,
Yeah.
and
I
viewing
think
parties and friends and stuff like that.
I think I didn't really get into Game of Thrones until the 3rd season came out, and you're absolutely correct. All my friends were like, "You have to watch this
And
show."
you're catching up to you, so you can get there
Yeah.
before season 3 starts. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, their numbers are going up. It's great for them. I'm waiting to hear that they greenlight season 2.
Oh, I no doubt. There's no doubt it's going to happen. I Unless they're like, "No, we're gonna give you 1 season and we're gonna leave you
Nah,
wanting more,
they're not going to
and
do that.
good luck."
They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Not going to do it. I would like to see whether they do season 2 before they do the Batman 2. We know that's in production. When does that go into filming? It should start filming early next year. It's currently slated for October
Okay.
2026. So,
And I will say when the Batman 1 was being produced, I thought I was going to hate that movie. I thought I
what?
was going to hate
So
hate it
actually,
so
I
much.
want to hear this because this is one I've done before with some of this audience. But let me hear what you have to say.
I was okay, so one, you're casting, Mr. Sparkle Boy,
Yep. Okay.
Edward, whatever,
I'm going to
Edward
defend that one in a minute.
Scissorhands. I was like, "Oh, cool. I can't see him as Batman." And then you get these reports of like, "Oh, like we're struggling to get him to bulk up." I'm like, "Oh God." I'm like, This is gonna be horrible." I went in with low expectations. Um, but that's my thing is
Basically, you went in with no expectations.
yeah, I was like, uh, and that's the thing is I will always like go to the movie. I have the AMC
I do
movie
too.
pass
Yep.
thing,
A list. Yep.
so might as well. I'll the kind of the opening scene when you hear him walking and you don't see him and he's in the shadows.
In the subway.
Yeah, my like the hair stood up on the back of my neck. And when you see him for the first time, I was like, "Oh shit, this is Batman." I
So
was like,
so to me it was the like 15 seconds later because when he's sitting there just wailing and he's like "Psh, psh," he's already got him down, right, and he's just like
yeah,
nope, continuing, right, and it's like who are you, vengeance. I was like, oh, okay. And I'd heard some
well,
of the promo stuff where they were like some of the
mm,
reviewers had said it's 7 but in Batman, and I was like, I've been waiting forever to see Detective Batman,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's my thing is
Christopher
people.
Nolan's was Ninja Batman. Okay.
Yeah.
We've never really had Detective Batman until now.
And I've heard people say like, "Oh, I hate that movie. Like there's not that much action." And I'm like, "Well, if you read the fucking comics at all,
He's the world's
um
greatest detective.
yeah, like there's so much detective work. He's not just going from fight to fight to fight to fight. Like he's putting in detective work and you see that in the movie. And Batman to me has always been this like kind of in the shadows guy. So when I saw like you hear that like suspense build up and you kind of like in that subway scene when you hear him walking and if you're like, I don't know, for me, I was able to like put myself in like the punk's shoes, the bad guy's shoes, and you just have that suspense of like, oh shit, like something terrible is coming. And there's this, you know, dark cloaked man appear, and you're like, this is not good. Fuck. I don't know. I loved I will admit I was wrong. Um to question the Batman, but when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is like the best Batman movie." Sorry.
No, it was great. And again, I like the fact that they're coming in with the Penguin. They've got some plans.
Yep.
I think it's good. I think that I want to see them do more of this.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so good on DC for keeping this going and getting this just rocking and rolling. Um, Mojav, to answer your question from earlier, I have to look more into this Game Freaks thing. I see what you're talking about. It looks like some of the Pokemon stuff from Game Freaks like had a huge leak. I hadn't heard about it. So I will look into that maybe for the next show. But actually, we're right about time right now. So, everybody here, I still see you in the chat. Thank you very much. Tell your friends, come back. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the next episode of the Error Code Show. As always, if you missed any portion of the show because you came in late, I know people are kind of in and out, you'll be able to start getting these on YouTube. The live will be available later tonight, and then we'll break them up into segments over the next few days. You could just catch up there. So, yeah, next week, 8 o'clock. Jay, how do you feel? Series premiere.
I think it went great.
I think it was good.
I think it was good. It was I don't know if it's as good as this drink, but I did make the Dua Lipa Diet Coke.
Oh, how is it? You put the
I haven't tried it.
Wait, let's talk about this really quick.
I haven't tried it.
So the Dua Lipa Diet Coke has got jalapenos, pickles, and brine in it. Right? We talked about this.
You were supposed to make it.
I was supposed.
Well.
I didn't have a chance today. I ended up having to go to the doctor for a minute because I forgot about it. I had a brief appointment today, and then I had to finish up graphics for the show and stuff to make sure we could actually run a show.
Yeah.
Hey. And hey, your camera stayed on tonight. So, are you gonna try it on stream?
I'm gonna try it. I will say this has a lot of stuff I hate. One, I don't really drink soda. I never have. So Diet Coke, I do not like. Second, I hate pickles. So we are like 80% like not going to like this. But yeah, since Dua Lipa did it and she said that was the secret to her success in life and being rich and famous and beautiful, I'm going to try it. And yeah, you know what? Maybe it'll surprise me. Maybe it'll be like the Batman and I'll be wrong. So
What's the verdict?
So it's not terrible. But
you're like
oh god. Oh god.
Did it back up on you?
It's getting worse.
Oh no.
So it's not bad at first, but it is spicy as shit. So this is a good thing that we're ending this show on this. But yeah, it's not terrible. It's oh god. It's just it's spicy. It depends on how much jalapenos you put in it.
Oh my.
I chopped up a fresh jalapeno
Oh,
for
there
it.
you go.
So yeah, give it a try.
That'll do it. All right, everybody. Try the Dua Lipa Coke. Go ahead and Google that. Come see us next week at 8 p.m. Pacific. We'll have another episode of the Error Code Show. Give us a subscribe. Again, use your free Prime subs. Use your paid subs. We are already set up on Twitch and YouTube, and we will have more for you with hopefully all our socials and Discords and everything next week. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.